Welcome back, everyone, to another GAC season. It is 3v3 time. Hope you're all excited for some 3v3 action. Woohoo! Everyone loves 3v3, right? I am Altino Zenkeri, and this season I'm going to start us off on the season with something a little different. I'm going to try, in the spirit of some of the other content creators, I'm going to try and provide my own list of my preferred offensive and defensive teams. The teams that I will be using, as well as some other teams. Excuse me, if you are in a lower division, if you're in Rhodium or below, some teams that maybe will be useful to you. I'm going to talk about the meta teams, the teams that have the best datacrons, as well as the teams that are just kind of generally useful. If you don't have datacrons, or you don't like datacrons, or you don't have the newest stuff, I'll list those teams as well. So please like and subscribe. Help me, get this content out to more people and share this with more people. I've also added my Discord username in the comments, so if you want to DM me with questions about comps or strategy or scouting, feel free to send me a message. Hopefully that link works. If it doesn't work, put a comment on the video, and you can always add your comments on the video, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I have a lot of teams here that I'm gonna run through really quickly. So if you have more questions, again, send me a DM on Discord if you're able to figure that out. Or add a comment on the video, and I will respond to you. I have them roughly divided into defense and offense, and a lot of them can either go either way, depending on your personal preference, your play style, what your opponent has, etc., etc. So it's important to scout your opponent and to know what your opponent uses and what your opponent has at their disposal, before setting your own defense and deciding what to use on defense. But this is kind of my first initial impressions on what is more of a defensive team and what is more of an offensive team. So without further ado, we're going to start with the king right now, which is Hondo, the Vayncron. If you rolled the new Vayncron in the purple set, if you rolled that, then that is good. I think going to be the strongest team on defense, at least in the first week. It has the potential to be almost as strong as the Darkside Raycron we had a few seasons ago, and maybe could be one of the kind of thing where there's only a couple counters, and if one of those counters fails, then you might just lose. I don't know. It could turn out there's a cheaper counter. We don't have no idea. But for me, this is going to be bottom front wall week 1. This is going to be the team that I am most scared of fighting on offense, and the team that I'm absolutely going to be placing on defense every single round in the first week until we figure out what is a good counter. Honestly, if you are first round, I would wait. I always watch, starting watching content creators. Scribe usually starts going right away. Scribe, Calvin Awesome usually goes in the afternoon. Vexatron and Xerath are kind of the 4 big ones that I watch, to see, especially at the beginning of a season, what are they going to do, and if they all go in and they're like, okay, because my plan right now is to use SLKR. Right, and so if they go in and they try SLKR and SLKR fails, I need to kind of rethink my plan. So this is going to be the team to watch. After that, of course, Ray is always solid on defense. There's a couple different options here. If you don't have Ezra, you don't want to use Ezra with Ray, Cal is probably the next best option. Of course, Ben is, of course, a mandatory on there. But Cal, JTR is also good. Other things like Barris could also be useful there if Hermit Yoda, kind of a weird but classic option there. If you don't want to use Ezra, Ray Ben Ezra, of course, is a classic team on defense. Probably one of the strongest defensive teams. However, he often likes to go with Ahsoka. If you have Ahsoka, obviously I do not. If you have Ahsoka, his best home is here. This is the best Ahsoka team. This is the team I'm always the most scared of. Ahsoka, Ezra, and Hu Yang. Hu Yang supercharges Glatz ultimate, so he is definitely the best third there. Please don't try and put. Sabine and Hera are good, but they're nowhere near as good as Hu Yang in this combo. If you want to put Ezra with Rey, and you have Ahsoka, you could try this comp. This comp stops the Great Mother's cheese, mostly, or at least times them out. So this is another option there if you want to mess with this, or if you want to put Ezra somewhere else. So those are your kind of options for Rey and Ahsoka with what to do with Ezra. Jabba, I put him on the defensive list. I think, you're probably saying, wait, but Wampacron is back. And Wampacron is back. Dramatic pause. But last time we had Wampacron, there was also a Swordycron, which has a lot of defense and a lot of potency. And so if you're able to get your Boosh with a lot of potency, my Boosh has 194% potency. If you're able to find a Wampa, and that maybe is lower relics, right? My guys are all R8, right? Relic Delta is a thing. If you're able to get a Cron with a lot of defense, a lot of damage, a lot of potency, at least 2 of those 3 things, and a Wampa that is lower relics, I think this could surprise people. I think people are going to assume that Wampa will work, and it could be a trap. You could be laying a trap for people. If you have, say R5 on your Boosh and your Chrysanthemum, or you have R7 and they have like an R9 Wampa with really high tenacity, maybe don't put it on defense. So that's why it's important to scout. If they don't have Wampacron, right? It certainly is still a good defensive team. A team that I have been using the last few seasons on defense is JMK Cat Ezra. JMK generally is not good on defense with like Cat and General Kenobi or OG Mace. Not good defensive team. Balin walks over it. Reva can walk over it. Even Bo-Katan Mandalore has a chance against it. Not a great team without Ezra. But if you have Ezra, SLKR walks over this pretty well. But I think SLKR is going to have his hands full with this Pirate King Hondo team. So this could be a good backwall surprise because people aren't usually expecting to find Ezra with JMK. So maybe you put Rey in the back as well, or Ahsoka. If you have Ahsoka, and people don't see the team that they would expect Ezra on, so they are like, oh, well, I expect Ezra to be here, so I'll have Leia there. But then, oops, this is here, and Leia does not kill this team. You need SLKR, but they use their SLKR on your Hondo. If you don't have Hondo, just something to think about. If you have Hondo and the Vayncron. The other big meta defense team right now is of course going to be the Stranger with their FDC. Still very powerful. If you have Maul hate fueled that, he is the best third with Stranger and Starkiller. If you don't have this Maul, the Conquest Maul is still a good third there. If you don't have Conquest Maul up and running, Crew is another option. Not as strong, but could be another option there. If you have the Focus Datacron, I think this is going to be a really dangerous team on defense. We'll see. We might, at least in week 1, I think this is going to be a front wall defense until we figure out what are the cheap counters. And then maybe it comes off of defense or it goes somewhere else. Gas. I like Gas on defense. I know a lot of people like him on offense. He prevents revives. He kills a lot of things. He hits really hard. He also drops a lot of banners. It's basically impossible to get full max banners with Gas on offense. So I like to put him on defense with Rex and 5s. He will either draw Sith Eternal, or people will try and CLS it, and that sometimes doesn't work, sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work, especially if you have the right Datacron. And at least they'll definitely drop banners if they try and CLS this. So either you're drawing a GL or a really strong team, or they're going to try and underman it or undersize it, punch up against it and potentially drop banners or drop a battle. If you don't want to use Rex and 5s here, you can use the classic Rex 5s team. This team can be very annoying, especially in lower Kyber or in Erodium and below. Can be a very annoying team if people don't know how to deal with it. I would caution people, if you're going to do Rex 5s, do not, again, unless you're like, in Erodium or Chromium or something and you just need more teams or people aren't as used to dealing with it, I would not place Rex Arc Echo. That's not a good team. It's not worth placing, really. It's much, much weaker than Gas Rex 5s. Don't try and do that split. Just leave Arc and Echo on the bench, honestly. You could put Arc and Echo with Shock Lead, which is later down on this list as well. If you're in a lower division, Shock with Arc and Echo can be kind of a surprising team, and maybe get you some holds if people are kind of looking past it, not expecting it. If you don't want to put if you don't want to put Captain Rex with OG Rex and 5s, and you have the Codicron, you could try it. I have no idea. I think it could be an interesting thing. It could maybe get some surprise holds, or draw us out something really strong because people don't know what they're doing with it, especially in week 1. Maybe we'll find a cheap counter after that, but certainly for week 1 could be strong. Another option for Captain Rex is Saw. If you have Saw, whoops, go away, Luthen. This Saw Rex Luthen team historically has been the strongest defensive team, has gotten the most holds and had the most banner sniping. of any Saw composition in 3v3. So this is the team I usually like to place. This is usually where my Rex goes these days. But now with Relic Delta, I don't know. I only have these guys at R5, so I don't know. If you have the Kyle Katarn Kron, or you have a Kron with a lot of offense, Kyle Katarn can do well here. Obviously, my Kyles are only R5, so I can't use that datacron yet. I don't even have it yet. But another option for Saw. Saw is a good defensive team. He's also a good offensive team. This team with Saw, Kyle, and Luthen, actually, Relic Delta might make it a little more difficult now, with my Saw at least. But this team can take out a Queen Amidala team on offense. And if you want to see more how to do that, then I can show you. Balin. Balin has a bunch of good options for datacrons right now. He has the focus datacron. He also has mercenary datacrons. With the regular datacron set, there's a long, wordy level 6 cron that benefits him a lot. I think he's going to be really strong on defense. Unfortunately, I think he's also going to be really strong on offense. So I think I'm probably going to take him on offense, but I think he would do really well on defense if you have a good datacron with him. I think he could... You're probably going to need like a GL or something like of that caliber. JML usually takes him out. I don't know if JML is going to take him out with the datacrons right now. Darth Vader Duel's End is a new team with a focus datacron, which means it goes on defense because people don't know what to do with it yet. At least in week 1, this is going to go on defense. I think it's a really strong team, especially if you have the Omicrons on Darth Vader. Inquisitors, classic team, classic defensive team. I'm going to try and kind of go through these a little bit faster. Inquisitors, not as strong as in 3v3 as they are in 5v5, but still a good team. If you have the Barris Focus Datacron and her Omicron, which I do not, this team could be good on defense as well. Could surprise people. Again, just like the Darth Vader team, it's a new team. People don't know what to do against it. Queen Amidala is always a strong team on defense. It's also a really strong team on offense. I'm probably going to take it on offense to try and kill Stranger. I got my Padawan Obi-Wan and Master Qui-Gon up to R9 to do so. So I'm probably going to take it on offense, but on defense, basically it'll draw either Bane or a GL usually, unless people know how to counter with Saw, like I just said. For the Jedi Vanguard, there's a few different options here. If you have Jedi Master Mace, you can split them up like this. This is probably if you want to have 2 Jedi Vanguard teams, this is probably the best split. Master Mace with Ayla and Depa, and then Jedi Kelleran Beck with Jocasta and Temple Guard. If you want to combine them, you want Jedi Master Mace with Temple Guard, and then one of these 2 attackers as your third. To make a super team, I like Master Mace, Jocasta, and Temple Guard, or even Depa, honestly, as the third. Either way is fine. But you don't want to do just Mace all attackers, right? You want to, if you're trying to make kind of one Jedi Vanguard team, you want Mace and Temple Guard. Those are the 2 key characters, and then on one other attacker. What you do not want to do is try and make this super team up here with Mace, Jocasta, and and Temple Guard, and then try and put these guys with Kelleran Beck. Kelleran Beck is not Mace, okay? Don't be racist. He's not the same, and these 2 both have in their kits very clearly if Jedi Master Mace is in the leader slot. They do not work as well under a Kelleran Beck lead. Where am I going? They do not work as well under a Kelleran Beck lead. Their kits are like half turned off. Do not put Ayla or Depa with Kelleran Beck. If you're going to make one big Jedi Vanguard team with a Master Mace lead, and you're not included with it's like, Mace, Jocasta, and Temple Guard, these 3, just leave them on the bench. Just leave them on the bench. They're not good. If you're not going to use Ayla or Depa with Master Mace like this team, just don't use them at all. As simple as that. Seer Malicos is another team that's really good on defense. It does die to some things like Malgus, so it's not as good on defense as it used to be. It is still a strong team. If you don't have Stranger and you put Starkiller over there, it's an even stronger team on defense. However, it's so good on offense, and it kills so many things that it's hard to give it up. And I think I'm probably still going to take it on offense. But I have put it on defense before. Tarkin Clones, I think, is a surprisingly good defensive team, especially if your opponent has Stranger, Darth Vader Duel's End, and is good and put their Mara Jade with that, their EP Mara with that. Historically, EP Mara Thrawn has been a cheap counter to this, but that has gone away with most people putting DVDE. And if they do use EP Mara with Darth Vader Duel's End against this, honestly, it used to be kind of punching down when it was EP Mara Thrawn. Now it's it's a good, that was kind of a cheap counter. That's now a much more expensive counter. So I would take that trade off. If they're going to use Darth Vader Duel's End against this Tarkin Clones team, I'll be like, yeah, great, thank you. That sounds fantastic. I'll take that every day. Great Mothers, another team that could go either way. They're really strong on defense. They can be really difficult and annoying to deal with, especially if you have Marin as the third. It can really shut down Malgus. But also, they're just really strong on offense, and they get really good banners. Enoch with a Night Trooper Cron. There's a Night Trooper Cron right now that makes this team really good. Could be really strong on offense. Not really strong on offense. It's not really a good team on defense. Honestly, it's not really a good team at all. But it's the kind of team where if you have a lot of other strong teams elsewhere, it could be the kind of team people are caught looking past. Same with the Master Mace team. Not a great team on defense, but there's not a ton of counters, and it could catch people off guard. So kind of a. I usually put this on like the top wall, and then hope that they get so caught up trying to deal with my bottom walls that they run out of good counters, and that's happened before. I've gotten holds with this for that reason. They're caught looking past it, and they realize they don't have a good counter at the end, because it's not a pushover team. Gungans, please do not make the mistake of putting Phalanx with Jar Jar and Boss Nass. Regardless of whether you take them on offense or leave them on defense, please use Tarpals. Phalanx with Boss Nass, Phalanx, Jar Jar has 0 damage, 0 DPS. They do no damage. Please, 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 just put Tarpals here. You want to put Phalanx because he has the taunt, and he can make it hard to kill the shield generator, but they won't kill anybody. All right, they won't kill anybody if they're the defense. You kind of annoy your opponents if you put them on defense with Phalanx, but you're still gonna lose, and you're not gonna be able to kill your opponents. So just put Tarpals. He has a mark. He has a big AOE. He's gonna kill people, especially if you have him higher than like 5. If you have the Asajj focused Datacron and the Asajj Omi, again I do not. But this team with Boba Fett and Fennec and Asajj, I think, has potential to be really strong. It was really scary in 5v5, and I think could do some scary things in 3v3. And if you put it on defense, I think can catch people off guard. Again, a new team. Maybe Bounty Hunters. I mean, there's a Zuckuss Cron, there's a Forlom Cron, there's an Envo Cron. Zam is always good with Bounty Hunters. Maybe there's some Bounty Hunter shenanigans we can do. I don't know. If you have DTMG, which I don't really, he doesn't have any Zetas, and you have one of the new Imperial Remnant Crons, or newer Imperial Remnant Crons, this team probably on offense. I don't know why I have it on defense. Probably on offense, because if you have this team, if you have Enoch here, if you're not using this team, this Enoch Night Trooper, Death Trooper team, you put Enoch here as the third, it could stop Adrad, but this team as it is gets run over by Admiral Raddus, so not a good team. I don't know, maybe the new Datacrons, maybe the powerful Imperial Remnant Datacrons would stop Adrad. I don't know. General Grievous can steal some banners if people don't know what they're doing, if people aren't ready for him, especially if you have the new target, the blue, older droid target lock Datacron, could stop some people. Tuskens, not as strong as they once were, but still kind of a defensive staple with the Tusken Raider Omicron. If you put it in the back, there's a lot more teams now that prevent revives or have big AoEs, so it's not as good as it once was, but certainly if you're in lower Kyber or, a Rhodium or below, even in Kyber 1, sometimes your opponents, it's one of those kinds of teams just like the Enoch team where people are caught looking past it and then they realize, ooh, I used all my no revive teams and I don't have anything that kills this, and, it can get holds that way. Qui-Gon, classic team, always a good team. It's if you're in Upper Kyber, people pretty much know how to deal with it without losing any banners. But if you're not in Upper Kyber, maybe it could still get you some banners saved, or it could snipe some banners. Trench unfortunately lost his focused Datacron, his Datacron, and he's not as good in 3v3 anyway. So you might as well just throw him on defense and probably get, full banners with the Gungan team, but whatever. Nihilus, the Nihilus focused Datacron could be interesting. I saw Zareth in his video use Sith Eternal Emperor as the third, which is an interesting idea. You could use Scion, you could use Savage, you could even use Talon. If you don't have the Nihilus focused Datacron, you could use Trey Lead. The thing about this team is that if the opponent has Maz will basically run over this team in 30 seconds. It'll also die to most GLs, but the good news is outside of Maz and GLs, there's not a lot that counters this, either with Nihilus lead in the focused Datacron or a regular Trey lead, Treyas Nihilus Savage. It's a really strong team on defense, again, to anything that's not Maz. Shock T Clones is kind of a throwaway team, but again, if you're in a lower division, could be really kind of annoying. Shakti will stealth them. Shakti will heal them. It does die to a solo nest, if you know how to use nest properly. But could be frustrating to a lower level opponent. And finally, Darth Revan, Zalbar. I added this, kind of tacked this on at the last minute. I forgot about it because I don't have the Zalbar Omicron. But if you do have the Zalbar Omicron, this could be a good team. On defense, either your opponent will strategically two-shot it to basically get rid of the Omicron by going in once, mission dies, and then the Omicron is pretty much useless the next time, which you get a hold, right? That's a hold. So you should, I'll take that anytime if you do that, if your opponent goes with that strategy. This also dies to Gungans, so, your mileage may vary there. Okay, offense. My offensive teams. I tried to mostly limit this to teams that were not on the defensive list. There's a couple teams that are overlap, which you'll see. But overall, I'm trying to limit it to non-repeats. So SLKR is really good on defense, honestly. Is a really strong defensive team. But I think we're going to need him on offense. If your opponent has Pirate King Hunter with the Vaincron, I'm hoping it'll kill that. It also kills just almost everything else. Leia, still really strong on defense. Good for killing anything with Ezra. She's usually my Ezra hunter, whether that's on Ahsoka or on Rey. The only problem is if your opponent puts JMK with Ezra, she does not kill that. But she will kill almost anything else. Lord Vader is not super great on defense right now. Maz is killing him. Bo-Katan is killing him. Bane has a decent chance of killing him. He is in the second week. I think we're going to get Satele, and I think Satele is going to kill him. So I'm going to keep him for offense. Maybe to kill Stranger if Queen Amidala isn't working. But I think he's probably going to go on offense because he's going to get pretty good banners against most things. Probably not against Stranger, but against most things he'll get good banners. So I think I'm going to keep him for offense this season. JMK, again, if you are not willing to put Ezra with JMK, he should be on offense. He can kill a lot of things. There's still a lot of things that can get insta-killed. So you can usually find something for JMK to do. JML is kind of at the bottom of the barrel of the GLs, but, might as well throw him in there. He can still kill a lot of things that aren't GLs. He's not killing a lot of GLs, but he can kill a lot of non-GL teams. Like Balin. And here's Balin again on offense, because I'm kind of not sure what I'm going to do with Balin. I think with the FTC and with the Mercenary datacrons, he's going to be really strong. And I think probably on offense for me. But maybe I'll put him on defense just to kind of mess with someone, because with the new datacrons, maybe that'll confuse people. Sith Empire, Malgus used to be such a great defensive team. His defensive viability has fallen a lot, so he mostly comes on offense for me, where he kills a lot of things. If you were listening to my defensive side a minute ago, I just said a lot of things. Malgus kills this, Malgus kills this, Malgus kills this. Malgus can kill a lot of things. Malgus, Revan, Malak is probably, it's really not worth splitting them apart unless you have the Zalbar Omicron. You want to put Revan with Zalbar and Mission, in which case you can do Malgus, Malak, Basti. I would not really suggest trying to bring in some of the weaker Sith Empire. I think that's mostly a trap. People try and put Malgus with like Sith Marauder and Sith Assassin or something, or with Talon. It's not as good. It's not as good. Just keep the top the four, the top four together. I really need to put some more relics on Basti, but really, keep it with this team. Bane is Bane. Bane is always going to find something to kill. You're always going to kill. It's still impossible to make a Bane proof board. So Bane will always find something to do. Wampa, we have for a long without the Wampa FTC, it's been very easy to make a Wampa proof board in Kyber 1 for a while now. But Wampa FTC, I think, is going to smash some things. Again, you got to be careful if you're using Wampa. Like I said, in the defensive side, careful of your opponent's potency and defense. Could cause a timeout if they are able to land. If Boosh is able to land thermal detonators at the very beginning in her first turn, you are screwed, right? So you need to have enough tenacity on your Wampa to withstand the first hits, right? So my Wampa has 142% tenacity, and he gains some extra tenacity. Well, that's protection up. He just doesn't have right away. 100% tenacity, right? So he has 100% tenacity, and so that's 242% tenacity. So if your Boosh if you're facing a boost that has like 200+% potency, you might need to be worried. But even if you don't want to use it against Jabba, or your opponent took Jabba off defense because they were scared of Wampa, I'm sure you can find something to do with Wampa. The solo artists, these are classic solo artists. Malik, Wampa, Savage, Darth Vader, and Kylo Ren, as well as Malgus, can all solo things. In Kyber 1, most of these guys don't really have a place as solo artists anymore, sadly. But if you are in Rhodium or Chromium or Bronzium, these are great. I forgot Nest. Nest is my personal favorite solo artist. I loved using her when I was not in Kyber. There's a lot of things that Nest can kill. If you're curious about how to use the solo artists, especially Nest, send me a DM, leave a comment. I loved using Nest back in the day. GMs again, back on this list as well. They're just so good on offense. I had to put them here, even though I put them on the defensive team video. They can kill some GLs. They kill a lot of non-GL things, and they usually get good banners while doing it. Talzin Night Sisters. This is another Jabba counter. If you're too scared to use Wampa, because they have a lot of potency, Relic Delta actually helps the Night Sisters because it makes Talzin and Asajj die faster. And so you have to be careful about the datacron, the potency, and the tenacity of the Boosh and the Chrysanthemum. But and if you have the Chrysanthemum Cron and you strip the taunt, you could lose the Terminator with Marin, and that could be problematic. But if you know how to do this counter, if you have the Omicron and Marin, and ideally the Omicron and Asajj, that could still be a viable Jabba counter. Rogue One, Adrad is still really good. Kills a lot. There's a lot of Empire teams out there. I don't think he's going to kill Darth Vader Duel's End with EP and Mara, but I think a lot of other Empire teams, if they put a DTMG team without Enoch, or some other teams, if they put Iden, for example, some people still put Iden down, Adrad kills that pretty good. Satele is coming in week 2. I'm really excited for that. We don't have her yet for the first week, but I think for the second and third weeks, I think this is mostly going to be a offensive team. I think this is going to be the comp with Jedi Revan and Basti, and I think it's going to be an offensive team. I think it's going to be strong. I'm hoping it's going to kill either GLs or maybe Stranger or something of that caliber. I'm hoping it can take out some A-level teams. So we'll see. Boss Grief Mando, classic team, not as useful anymore, at least in my neck of the woods in Kyber 1, but still can kill a lot of things. They can take out a lot of Adrad teams. If you see Radis, Jin, and Cassian on defense, Boss Grief Mando kill them easy for 57 banners. Perfect banners every time. Again, if you have them reliced. So that's always a good team. Bo-Katan, Mandalore, always good on offense, can kill a couple GLs. I'm hoping with the death of the datacrons that this will once again be able to kill Lord Vader. We'll see. She has a decent chance against JMK. She can clean up a solo Ahsoka Tano. Has a lot of uses, and then of course can kill a lot of non-GL things as well. But be careful, Bo-Katan can get steamrolled by Terminator teams. So like she does not do well, for example, against Finzori, which I didn't even put on this list because I don't have Finzori. But Finzori is also a good team. Maul Mandos, if you're not using Maul with your Seer team down here, okay, Seer again put here. I think Seer probably you're going to want to save for offense. Could put on defense. I've done it before, but probably on offense. The best home for Maul is here with Seer. Malicos, Seer, Malicos, Maul is probably the best team if your Star Killer is with Stranger. If you don't have Hate Fuel Maul, your Maul might go over there. If you don't have Maul, well, you should gear him up. If you don't want to use him with Seer and you don't use him with Star Killer, you can put him on his own team with Garn ISC, and they can clean up a lot of things. If you have a solo GL, they can take out a lot of solo GLs. If you don't have Maul, Crew or Cal can also be serviceable thirds for Seer Malicos. This JKR team kills Ahsoka Tano if it's a bad Ahsoka Tano team. If it's a Ahsoka Tano team with Watt, there's no Ezra. This JKR, because of his claws in his lead, that lets him. It was designed to kill Traya actually originally. It also kills Nest, but it says when a Jedi ally uses a basic on an enemy with bonus protection, which Ahsoka has a lot, reduce the target's enemy max health by 10%. It doesn't work against raid bosses, but it does work against Galactic Legends, and you can basically just reduce Ahsoka's max health to 1, and then Cal can get repulsed and kill her under her protection. It's crazy. If you've never seen it done, if you've never done it, it's wild to see a GL at 1 health, but it works. This is a team I used to use a lot. I don't use it as much anymore, but JKL, Mace, and Hermit Yoda. You need a really fast Hermit Yoda. Mine is 305, not as fast as you really want. You really want a faster Hermit Yoda. Get the Heroes Arise, whatever that's called. Give JKL a turn, stun everybody. I used to use this to counter Malgus teams that didn't have Malak on them. You know, like if you see a Malgus Marauder Talon or something, this team used to counter that. If they could survive a pick hit by Malgus. It can also counter some other things. If you are using some other teams with JML, if you're using JKR Cal or something with JML, if you have the Cal focused, the Cal datacron with the mercenaries, Cal can get his insta kill really quickly. He can also, if you get the right level 6, he can also prevent revives, which could be good. I don't know if there's a lot of use cases for that. Newt Django B1 is always a good team. At the lower levels, not as much in Kyber 1, but not as much uses anymore. I used to use this team to kill Qui-Gon teams because you can't really kill any of them right away, right? B1 you have to take stacks off of. Newt and Django both get revives. Django can't be killed right away under a Separatist lead anyway, so they have a little bit of survivability, and they can take out some things. So I just added these guys as these are teams that I had on the defensive list that I think could be really good on offense, right? I had Maz. Where did I not put Maz on? I thought I must have forgotten to put Maz. I don't think I had Maz anywhere on here. Maz is a really good team. Where are they at? I'm probably going to keep Maz for offense just in case my opponent puts like the Nihilist Focus Datacron or Lord Vader. Maybe I want to try that. There's some good Scoundrel Crons for them right now. But could also go on defense. I think Kix and OG Hondo is probably the best comp there. But there's some good comps with Maz on defense too. I forgot to put that on defense. Oh well, you'll figure it out. Right, Inquisitors, General Skywalker, Maz, Queen Amidala, Boss Nass, Gungans, all good teams that could go either way. This is kind of designed to represent all the teams that could go anywhere. It's up to you. CLS, is always a good choice for some things. I don't know how much you're going to get out of that this season, but CLS 2PO 3PO is usually the split we do, and then you put Han Solo and Chewbacca with either Dash or with Bam if you're not using him with Bo-Katan Mandalore, and they can do some damage too. This team really has burst damage, right? If you can't kill someone like right off the bat, you're in trouble. But if you can use them and you can kill someone right away, you can usually kind of get rolling. Another option for Dash is using him with Vandor. If you have the Dash Omicron in the Vandor Zeta, you can keep reviving everybody. Dash Vandor Nest I used to use a lot to kill things. Anything basically that doesn't prevent revives and doesn't have a lot of AoEs, Dash Vandor Nest has a chance against. You could also use Hondo here. The only downside with Hondo as the third is that he can't be revived by Vandor. And also, if you have pirates, he's wanted in so many other places now. Iden, not good on defense, right? Adrad kills it, Wampa kills it. Too many things kill it. If you have, she gets 100% turn meter to start, so she can potentially kill like a CLS team. Not a whole lot she can kill these days, but especially if you're in the lower divisions, really useful. And finally, Stormtrooper Luke. This is a new team. If you have Stormtrooper Luke, I just put on, just today, I applied his Zetas and his Omicron. I do not have the Omicron on Princess Leia, although that is on my to-do list. And they have a Focus Datacron. But if you have some Omicrons, if you have the Zetas, if you have the Focus Datacron, and hopefully if you have them above Relic 5, they might be able to do something for you. So those are the teams that I am planning on using this season. Generally, what I'm planning on using on offense and defense. We'll see. I might switch things up as the season goes on. I like to change things up. I like to kind of try and confuse my opponents. If you watched my GAC scouting videos from last season, the same principles apply. I look at my opponents. I look to see what kind of things have they placed in the past, what kind of things do they use on offense in the past, what are their counters, like if I see, well, what do they usually use against Rey? Do they usually use Seer Malicos? Okay, What comp has a better chance against stopping Seer Malicos? Do I put Ezra there? I think I'm gonna go back to JMK Ezra in the back, but I'm not sure. It's in my history, and I'm at a point where people might be scouting me, and they might see that and not be surprised by it. But we'll see. Again, always double check your opponents, and don't get too lazy with your defenses. It's always good to switch it up, especially after week 1. We'll see. We'll get more data. Some of these teams, like the Vayne datacron and the Stranger datacron, will have more data after week 1, and we can make better judgments. So thank you all for watching. Take care of your defenses. Find the right counters, and good luck out there.